computer.
It almost looks like you have a higher contrast. I mean, you look great as always.
It looks like more zoomed in, but okay, well, great. I'm on my
It
personal
does look
laptop.
more zoomed in. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. I wonder if that's I think it's a Substack thing.
Yeah, I think like they autofocus.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's exactly what's happened there. They're AI tools at work. Yeah, how are you? How's your Friday?
It's good. Friday the 13th, and managed so far to what? And nothing bad has happened. It's all been good, normal stuff over here.
I completely forgot that it was Friday the 13th until you just mentioned it. Like it occurred to me earlier when I was making plans, and then yeah, like totally skipped over it.
Well, that's good. I feel like that is a sign that we are not like particularly superstitious, which, you know, given our background and our mothers, that's a pretty remarkable feat.
That's true. Actually, I caught myself, I think it was last week, there was a lunar eclipse. Maybe it was last week or the week before. And I woke up pretty early that day and as I saw the moon at like 5:30 in the morning. And it
Mm,
was definitely like you could tell that there was an eclipse happening. And
that's
I
cool.
didn't, yeah, I didn't make an effort to, stare at it, but I saw it. I recognized what was going on and then immediately felt like I had done something wrong.
Wait, are we
I
are we not supposed to look at lunar eclipses? Is that a thing?
don't know. I have a very vivid memory of we were in London when I was in high school, and there was an eclipse happening that day. And I don't know if it was the eclipse or a festival or some confluence of
Mm,
things
yes.
where she wanted to stay in the hotel room with the curtains drawn and
Yes.
not go outside and not like even like risk catching sight of the moon.
That is correct. I mean, that happens definitely on Ganesh Chaturthi, like the Ganesh festival,
I think that's what it
because
was.
yes, so on that evening you are not supposed to look at the moon. I'm not going to get the mythology exactly right, but there's a story about the moon, I think teasing, like body shaming Ganesh, fundamentally for being like chubby and like making fun of him. And as a result, yes, I think it's obviously more complicated than that. I'm saying like kind of the simplified mythology, but yeah, it is the case that on that evening you're not supposed to look at the moon. But if you do look at the moon by accident, at least in my house, the way that you like sort of repent for that is you have to do you put your hands like this and you basically do like 21 squats in
What?
in front of like the god. And as kids, like the idea of like doing 21 squats, it was kind of like fun because you're like, oh look, like we're
Yeah.
like, working out in the puja
Wait,
room.
like this? Like almost
Like
like a Bharatanatyam.
it's
Well,
like
I
you're just
mean
like
Bharatanatyam
hold.
dance would be
Yeah, the way that
different.
we would do it is you'll have to ask your mom. She may say that I don't know if this is like a like
I
sort of
will ask her.
religion wide custom or if this was a unique thing in our house because it's just not something I would have seen in other households. But yeah, you like hold your ears. If that's like kind of a common like sort of I don't know. It's a pose. It's not like something like punt, but yeah, you hold it and it's like a you do these like kind of squats. Anyway,
The moon body shaming Ganesh is a very I would actually love to read a version of the mythologies that is broken down like into the whatever you want to call it, like slang of today. Just to, and even if it's not 100% accurate, just to I'm very uneducated in this entire realm, but I think it would be a good opener to, okay, here's like almost like Hinduism or like the Bhagavad Gita for dummies.
I mean, so I just Googled it, and the AI overview that comes up is according to Hindu mythology, the moon, also known as Chandra, mocked Lord Ganesha's large belly and elephant head after Ganesh fell from his vehicle, which is the mouse, after a feast. Offended by this arrogance and body shaming, Ganesha cursed the moon to disappear, later modifying it so that seeing the moon on Ganesh Chaturthi causes false accusations or bad things to happen.
Wow.
So now you know that it's very possible that the memory you had as a kid in London with the curtains closed was on that day.
Yeah, that is wow. That is wild. Centuries, generations of Hindu. I'm sure men also abide by these like follow along with this, but and I don't know what for whatever reason in my mind it's always, or at least in my experience, it's always been the women that have been more religious and that are more like they're more in the habit of passing down these teachings and the sort of like the things like don't wash your hair on Tuesday, don't get a haircut on Tuesday, don't wear anything new on Tuesday. Like that's a very I don't really know why that is either.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't, yeah, some of those, like the haircuts, the new, yeah, some of them I don't know the full, some of them I kind of understand the like, so one of the things that I used to be told a lot growing up, I learned classical Indian dance. And so when you're doing Bharatanatyam and practicing, a lot of the moves require you to like kind of stomp the floor, like flat feet loudly. And my mom would always say, like, you shouldn't practice in the evening or at night. And at least the explanation there, because I was like, why? And the explanation
Yeah.
there is that, like, the Lord of the Earth, Bhumi Devi, is sleeping. And so your stomping is disrupting. And I'm like, okay, that at least, like, there's a logical connection between this, like, concept, the mythological concept, as opposed to just being, like, purely superstition.
Okay, but
But
also
yeah.
like are they sleeping in like central time zone or are they
Well,
sleeping in like yeah, like
yeah,
what
that's a good question. Yeah,
when
that's a good question.
are you supposed to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning before you have school and everything else that you have to do and practice then? Like that
That is a good
doesn't seem
question.
ideal
I
either.
wish I don't think I came up with that response at 9. But yeah,
Nice.
I don't know what time
Wow.
zone the gods follow.
It's a great question. It is a great question. Actually, I mean, I know this is not on our agenda of like, you know what? I'm not even going to look that up. What am I going to say? Like, what is AI going to tell me
Yeah,
about what time zone the Hindu gods follow? Like,
I think they're omnipresent. So I think,
correct,
yeah, yeah.
correct.
Anyway, how are things in your world? You've recovered
They're
from Ojai.
pretty much. I'd love to say that I came back and went into full detox mode. That totally didn't happen. Which I also, I don't know. In our lives now, it's just not. It's not really realistic for me to do that, nor is it sustainable. I've done Prolon once, which is one of those diets where you just have like soup and broth and water for 5 days and you lose a bunch of water weight and you look a lot less bloated and then you start eating normally and then everything just like returns to where it was. So no, I did not do any of that, but Ojai was incredible. It's really I would love for both of us to be there at some point
We got to
during the
go back
festival. I know
during
we
the,
do.
okay. So I think I'm going to put it on my calendar next year. Like I want to come to this festival because I had so much, I don't always get a lot of like, I don't know, like FOMO, jealousy over things on social media because we're all doing our things and living our lives.
Exactly.
But like that, I think it's because I've been to Ojai and that property is like so beautiful. And then I think about like being there with like the extra like stimulate. You don't need any extra stimulation, but being there in an environment where there's just like a lot of good energy and people who are, it's just like people who want to enjoy good food and good wine. Like that's, it's just like, yeah, very dreamy.
It is. It is. And it's, yeah, because you've been there, you know how special that place is. And it's not really, I think that unless you live in California or know people who've gone there before, Ojai, for as much as it's grown since we were first there together 10 years ago, it's feels very much like a word of mouth kind of place. Like
Mm-hmm.
you hear someone talk about it and say, "Oh, I had this incredible time at the Ojai Valley Inn. I was at this food festival. the people were so great. The weather was incredible. The property was like something out of fantasy, just rolling hills and gorgeous sunsets and mountains and these huge oak trees with lanterns hung from them. It's all so dreamy, but it's not like, it's not like, I don't know. I mean, Los Angeles is a major city, but, or like San Diego or Santa Barbara, even, that has, it's just, it's a place that people can kind of point out on a map. Ojai still feels like a bit of a secret in a good way, in a way where it's not, I don't think that they allow like any big chains in town. So when you go downtown, it's all independent stores and really like my favorite bookstore that I've talked about before, Bart's Books, totally outdoors, all secondhand, could spend hours there. Actually had an appointment to go there to trade in some books that I have for new used books. And I kind of knew as I made it, like once I get to the Ojai Valley Inn, it's going to be really hard for me to leave. I'm not going to be like, like breaking away and like getting in a car and going anywhere. And so, like Sunday morning came and I emailed them like, I'm sorry, next time.
I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they do the food and wine festival there every year, or at least they have.
Yes. So this is the third year that it's happened. And the first year it was in October. The two since have been in March. And I think this, early March, they haven't set the dates yet for next year, but it's usually, I think it's an ideal, like weather wise, usually the rainy season has passed Southern California by then. It's not so hot that you can't be outside because it is in a valley, and like Napa Valley or Sonoma Valley, like Coachella Valley, it'll get really hot under the sun. And I've been there in July and August and it's like 110. It is just such a good, you bring people together over food and wine. And I was talking with one of my winemaker friends, Annie, who lives in Napa Valley and makes wine and tea. And she's a big viticulturalist, meaning involved in the growing of the grapes and knows a lot about the terroir and also how to grow like lettuces and all sorts of vegetables and flowers. And we were talking about the whole non-alcoholic movement and the way that people are not drinking as much as they used to. And she was saying that wine is something that really, people have been coming together around it for centuries, since like recorded human history. It's not a sort of flash in the pan thing. And like, yes, while numbers may be down year over year, I also very much believe that it's a fad. And I don't think that this urge to come together with people and celebrate and open something special that has history attached to it and is a product of the land and the time that it came from, I don't think that's ever going away. So this weekend is a really great example of how people will come together to do just that and like get off your phone, get off the computer, like connect one-on-one. And as corny as that sounds, there's a huge power in doing that. And people really want to.
So is it like, I saw some of the pictures you posted were cooking demonstrations, or I guess like, so there's that. And then is there also just like, I don't know, like panels and stuff, or just like in like booths where you go around and try samples, or what is it?
All three. Yeah. So, Thursday, the festival kicks off, and there's a kind of indoor, outdoor, lots of stands and booths of different chefs and restaurateurs that are each serving a dish, and you kind of walk around and taste a little from everywhere. And then there are winemakers that are pouring wine. And then that's replicated on Sunday on an even bigger scale in the grand tasting. I don't know off the top of my head, but I think they have at least 50 different vendors that are all, and it's included in the ticket price, depending on what kind of package you get. Like you get access to that, and it's eat and drink as much as your heart desires. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there are two sessions each day where there are panels that you can choose from and there are cooking demonstrations you can choose from. So I went to a panel on caviar and champagne, and most of them include you're either getting a glass of champagne if you're like walking in to listen to a author, a cookbook author, or someone in the food or wine industry talking about their new book. Or if it's like caviar and champagne, it was like a tasting where there were 3 different champagnes, 3 different types of caviar. And then the chefs, Nini Wynn and Naisha Arrington. Nini is based in Louisiana and was on Top Chef. And Naisha is based in Los Angeles. She's on a show called Next Level Chef. But they made their own kind of all of their bites had caviar, but it wasn't the typical like just caviar and blini or caviar and oysters. Nini made this incredible crab salad. I'm not usually like a crab. I like crab. I eat crab, but I'm not usually someone who would say my favorite dish was a crab salad. It was just so delicious, like lemongrass and ginger, and came with this like a fried saltine, basically.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
It makes me want to fry all my saltines.
I have saltines upstairs. I have never had a fried saltine, but now that
I feel like you could also like throw butter on them and then put them in an oven and like bake them.
Yeah.
And get a similar result.
Or like an air fryer. Yeah.
An air fryer.
And the wine was probably incredible.
The wine was so good. I honestly, I think I said on Instagram, it should be illegal to have this much champagne. It's really, the thing is that it's like the best of the best. Krug, Laurent Perrier, Billecart Salmon, like all of these really exclusive French champagne houses where you normally, like, if you had one glass of that or like access to one bottle, you'd be like, wow, that was a really special thing. They were pouring 2016 Cristal for one of the lunches on Friday, and I was like,
oh my God,
it's insane. Like, when else am I going to drink this?
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was definitely, one of those pinch me moments. Like I was standing next to oh gosh, my screen just went dark. I was standing next to Melissa King. She was doing a cooking demo, and I was talking to her as she was doing a Taiwanese fried chicken on stage. After having had the thing for me, I don't even want to say challenging, because it's like it's so much fun that it's like I can't believe this is like pseudo work. But the thing that's actually challenging is just like getting through, like enjoying everything, and then also like participating. You can't be, or you don't, even if you're not hosting something, you don't really want to be like, okay, I'm just going to like peace out in the afternoon and go take a nap and like just not do any of this stuff. Like I would have extreme FOMO if I did that. Totally. So it's really like, I think of our college and our like 20s as all having been training to like, okay, this is
I can handle this. Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple days. It's like spring break, except instead of the Bahamas, you are in a much nicer environment.
Instead of Malibu and Subway sandwiches, we're drinking Cristal and caviar.
I love that. But it is hard in those environments. Like, I mean, that is the fact that the whole event is centered around food and wine, 2 things that make you tired, that can make you tipsy, that like, just affect your energy in a good and sometimes like in an overconsumption bad way. That like in those kinds of spaces, like it's almost like, a cocktail party, right? Like it can be so hard because you're like, okay, I need to be on from like a work-ish perspective, but I also want to like enjoy the things that I'm, surrounded by and that I'm here to promote or here to discuss. But yeah, that's tough. I'm impressed that you actually managed to make it through all of the events and not escape for a nap or anything like that.
You and me both. I mean, I definitely did. I went from a lunch that was called barbecue in Bordeaux, where they were serving, it was like ribs and then lamb chops and then like beans and cornbread and like one thing after another and these incredible red wines. And I had my thing with Melissa King like 45 minutes later. And it was just across the way from where this lunch was. And I said, I'm even if it's only 15 minutes, I gotta go. I gotta put on my headphones and do a meditation, center myself because otherwise I mean, otherwise maybe I would have been fine. But where you just need that, like I need a dark room and cold sheets, and just even if it's 10 minutes, it's gonna do a world of wonder.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of how you see like Olympic athletes or athletes in general, like with their big headphones on, like just trying to get into the zone to like really focus. And yeah, I feel like especially when you're on such high stimulation, you need that before you're about to speak on a stage, that kind of thing.
Exactly what it is. It's
yeah.
like the Olympics of eating and drinking.
I was going to say the Olympics. Yeah. Well, I am so impressed. I feel like you got a gold medal. Being on stage with Melissa King, that's really badass.
She's so cool. She's so cool. And she's so like chill and comfortable too. I mean, she's a professional. She's done it on several multiple seasons of Top Chef and other TV shows too. So she knows what she's doing. What have you been up to?
Really nothing, in a way that I am like, I kind of needed. I've had the last week has been a lot of like just catch up of like life and organizing, taxes, blah. Just, all of the boring things. And, it's been like actually quite nice to have full weekends like at home where I'm not traveling, where I don't have like a big thing happening. Tomorrow we're going to the rodeo, which will be fun.
Oh, yes. Wait, Jen is going to be at the rodeo.
Oh my God. Is she in the rodeo in Houston?
Yeah, Jen Betts. Jen is going to be
amazing this weekend.
This weekend, because we were supposed to get dinner over this weekend. She said, "Oh, I'm going to the rodeo in Houston."
Okay.
I'm almost positive. Yeah. Well, you guys should meet up.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll see her. That's awesome. I think I have her number.
I'll reconnect.
Or reconnect. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a really long time since I've seen her.
Yeah, I'm going to Houston for the rodeo. Thank God you texted. Okay, yeah, that would warm my heart to see you guys together.
Yeah, I don't know if like there are like shows and events every day. But yeah, we're going tomorrow. So yeah, so it was kind of nice to have a pretty relatively low key weekend to like catch up on work and basically all that. This weekend will be a little bit busier. So yeah, I have not been up to anything cool, but I have been, I think part of my like not slower morning, but it's not just in the mornings, but just slower paced lifestyle. I was telling you this over text that I've been like suddenly back to, maybe because I stayed at home so much, like back to COVID era New York Times games.
So like Wordle or
like I now it's become like a routine. Like I don't just play one. I have an order that I play them in, and it's like sometimes it takes 15 minutes and sometimes less. But like Wordle, connections. Then I usually do the mini, and then I finish with strands. Anyway, this is like, but the thing I like about it is that they're relatively like they don't take very long to do. The crossword mini is like, it makes you feel like the smartest person in the world because you can do it in like less than a minute. And you're just like, hell yeah.
It does. Yeah. Beat your own time with that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, this is great. It takes me 35 seconds. I'm amazing. I'm so smart. But yeah, I think it's been a fun, like, alternative to scrolling on social media. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see how long it lasts. I know during COVID when some of the stuff took off, like I think that's when Wordle really took off. Yeah, and it was like, people were just, I don't know why, people were just so excited about it. And I I remember reading articles about the guy being totally overwhelmed by the fame and attention that came from this like game that he sold to the New York Times. But yeah, I'm back into it. It's been like kind of a fun way to like be on my phone, but not be in, social media mode.
Engaging your mind. I mean, you can almost think of it as like it's some kind of calisthenics. What would it be? Logic or I don't even like
Yeah, there's kind of
mental, but yeah, like there's something that's happening there when you're doing those puzzles and making the connections that
yeah,
is,
that's
I think,
right.
beneficial.
Right. There's something about it that, yes, feels like a mental exercise, but doesn't require the concentration or the like engagement of like reading a news article or listening to like a social, like some sort of like video on social media about a serious topic.
Yeah.
Like it's a different, you're right. It is like flexing a different kind of muscle. So yeah, that's what I've been up to while you've been drinking wine and eating food and talking to and meeting some of the most like well-renowned chefs. I have been on my phone playing Wordle.
Listen, I love Wordle. I don't play it as much as I did during COVID. I had a fixation with the regular crossword, which my mom does religiously every Monday. And Monday is once you like sort of get because and I think you find this with the mini too, and maybe the other games. They have a kind of language of there are certain words and clues and prompts that'll keep coming up again.
Yeah.
So you kind of know like Brian Eno. I think because they need ENO, there's like not many other ways to get that letter combination. I forget where he's a musician. Is he from like Sonic Youth or something? I don't know. But there's always this
like it's like frequently featured as a clue.
Yeah, funny. Exactly. English musician. Okay. But okay. I think that's who it is. But yeah, anyway, there's you'll find this sort of pattern of repetition, but Monday is solvable for me. Tuesday, like maybe. And then I start looking answers up because there are also all of those websites that like it's like amazing what exists, like the amount of websites that are dedicated
so much. Yeah,
decoding New York Times crossword clues, and then I start to feel stupid because like it gets harder as the days go on. So Sunday is the hardest. I think I've attempted Sunday like
I did not know that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hi, Mom. You say it's crossword. Oh, crossword mom. I read that as crossword mom. That's sweet. Yeah. Yeah. I have very fond memories of my parents doing that New York Times crossword in the evenings when I was growing up. But you know what makes me feel really stupid is spelling bee.
Don't get me started. There's a reason why I didn't name it because I get so frustrated. Yeah. I love when the letters around it include like the past tense or the like the ing or the eds, because then I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be able to make a lot because there's enough for like past tense and present participle or whatever ing is. But if it doesn't involve that, then I hate playing because I feel very stupid.
Yeah, it is. Like I don't know. And then you go to reveal the answers, and it's like how. I don't know. I'm just not that type of. I think there are people who are really good at sort of. You see that honeycomb kind of shape of letters, and your brain just goes to that. Like, okay, like I can like see all the combinations. It's like that show with Anya Taylor-Joy when she was playing chess on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of learners or thinkers those people are called, but I think they do really well at games like that. And I'm just not like, I can shuffle those letters as many times as I want. It's very rare that I would get more than like 7 words out of whatever is. I never get above that, like, whatever the level third is. Level.
Yeah. Like doing great. And you're like, well, I want to be a genius. Like,
exactly. I'm like, who is getting 57 different words out of this thing? Not me.
Not me. But that's
Not
why
me.
I apparently don't like doing things that I'm not good at. So,
Well,
which
who
will,
does? I mean, who
yeah.
does? Seriously, that's also why I won't. When people ask, because Nikhil plays golf and we belong to a country club, like, oh, do you golf too? I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to be bad at something for 5 hours. I really don't.
Oh, for 5 hours.
It takes
God,
a
yeah.
really long time. That's also a lot of small talk to make with like, not that I'm not against meeting new people at all, but I just don't. I don't want to be bad at something for that long. I don't want to get all the gear and then be out there and feel like, okay, I can't, like, what am I even doing?
Right.
I'm wasting my time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think like obviously as a culture we emphasize, and we're going to talk about this in our like later chat, but we emphasize a lot about like doing like the idea of you have to do things well. Like if you are a painter, like it has to be that you're actually like, if you want to be able to say you enjoy painting, it has to be that you like produce the product that's like of a decent quality, and like we emphasize the quality and being good at something too much. But I mean, there are moments and there are certain things that you can find joy in the learning. Everyone who's plays golf is learning at one point to begin, and like I'm sure there a lot of people are bad and they practice and get good. But then I think there's also like our time is finite. How your time on a Saturday is relatively limited, and then when it comes to this
Right.
idea of like, do I want to spend 5 hours, give up that precious time doing something that I don't enjoy, with the hopes that maybe later I'll start to enjoy it as I get better? Or do I want to spend those 5 hours doing something that I really like to do, that I know I will have a good time doing, and that I don't often get enough time to do on a regular basis anyway? And it's just like, well, then it's like an easy decision. Like, why? Yeah. Anyway,
Right. Right.
like,
Yeah. Right. Why would I? There are plenty of hobbies that like tennis, hiking. I don't know. There's lots of like outdoor activities that I would like to do that I'm not a complete neophyte at, where I would rather like work from that point. And I'm certainly never going to be a
exactly.
professional hiker or
Yeah.
tennis player. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
It was like
That,
never even at the
I
dock.
was, I could
So
say I didn't even know there was a ship for you
yeah, no,
for
there was.
that. Yeah.
I didn't even make varsity. I was like junior varsity my senior year.
I
Whatever.
mean, the most of the people who did make varsity are not playing tennis either.
No,
So
that's also
you're
true.
in the same position as them.
That's also true. Speaking of physical activities, the thing that I'm loving that I've recently quote unquote discovered is in my somewhat daily sanity walks by the park, around the park by my house, there is also a child's playground, and there are swings. There's a swing set. And I read online that 10 minutes on a swing is really good for your lymphatic system. It's like a lymphatic drainage massage. I mean, not exactly the same, because I think those massages, they like, I don't know, roll like sticks over you, and they do all sorts of manipulation to make you much less bloated. But it's the same kind of theory as bouncing on a mini trampoline, which my fixation with Body by Simone. They had the like mini trampoline workouts. I thought about getting one for a while, and then I was like, do I really want another piece of equipment that I'm barely going to use? Like, no. And I discovered that there's nothing saying that an adult can't go on the swings.
I was going to say, you're not breaking the park rules.
You know what? If I am, then please notify me, because I'd like to point out that I'm doing this at like say 8 o'clock in the morning, not like prime like
Children.
Kid. Yeah, there's like no
Recess hour.
children.
I'm imagining you like on the swings while like a 5-year-old is waiting with their nanny and it's like an Adam Sandler movie.
It really is. It really is.
Please, I mean, okay, the visual of this is very funny to me. Like, I'm just trying to imagine what, like, what your hands are doing? Like, are you like,
I'm holding on to the thing. I'm holding on to the like, the chains.
The chains. And then are you kicking and getting like air?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Kicking and getting air. I've got these headphones on. I've usually got a hat and sunglasses. So I look like a real freak.
This is hilarious. It's just also funny because you have to record a video. Be like, just own it. Like, set up your phone.
I will.
Set up your phone. I
will.
Yeah, the visual of this is really funny, especially because like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, seeing a grown person on a swing just is a funny visual. And are you doing it for the full 10 minutes to get the lymphatic benefits?
No, I will say that maybe the longest I've ever done it is like 7 minutes. I do eventually I'm like, all right, I've had enough. Like I got my airtime. I had my moment of whimsy. Like this is, put a cap on it. Let's continue our lap. Or I think like sometimes there will be like a parent and child or something on the playground. And I will say like, no one has ever like sort of looked at me like you shouldn't be doing this, but I'm sure it's also like, I don't know, like it could be a little bit unnerving. And
it's also LA. I feel like people are probably like, oh, this is clearly some special, like some wellness trend that is being explored.
Exactly. They're all taking to the swing sets and like doing their moon juice and face masks and whatever is new and trending.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think the research is still coming in on whether this is truly as effective at cleansing the lymphatic system as, I don't know, like dry brushing, which is also something that I always try to remind myself to do. And then it's like time to shower or take a bath. And I'm like, I don't feel like doing that either. So
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. But
well, speaking of, we're full of segues today.
We got so many segues.
Here we go. Do you don't feel cringe when you are swinging on the swing set playground as an adult grown woman?
You know what? Probably some of the reason that I don't get to the full 10 minutes is also that eventually it does start to feel a little, if anything, more performative than cringe. It's like unless I can really like get myself out of like, okay, like I really am doing this for my well-being, but I'm also aware that I'm a grown woman on a child's playground, and like, again, we're done here. We're gonna stop. But no, thankfully, the article that that both of us wanted to discuss is, what is it? It's called. It should happen in front of me.
The New York Times. It was in the, and I just literally lost my laptop. I'm back.
Climbing Cringe Mountain with Gen Z, which stems from a TikTok video by Erica Mallett from, I think it was from like 2 years. Erica Mallett, 34, creator consultant based in Sydney, Australia, coined it in 2023, the phrase cringe mountain. Miss Mallett spent years in the public eye, first as part of the hip hop duo Code of Conduct, and later as the host of a national breakfast show. The role put her in front of a huge audience almost overnight, and she was so bombarded with texts from listeners telling her that she was so cringe. That's like shitty. Why would someone do that? And so basically, Erica uploaded this video to TikTok where it's a cool illustration. We'll put it in the show notes of essentially saying like, anyone who's ever done anything cool has had to climb Cringe Mountain. And the whole, like the elevation, the uphill climb, you feel super cringe. You feel like you're putting yourself out there. You're opening yourself up to criticism. You're doing something in public that you're maybe not an expert at. And it's, you're making yourself very vulnerable. And it's, if you think too hard about it, you run the risk of saying like, okay, this is so, I'm embarrassed for myself. I can't do this anymore. But the secret is to keep pushing through that to a point where you just stop feel like, you know what? Anyone who's ever accomplished anything has had to go through this. And anyone who's criticizing you or laughing at you or saying like, oh my gosh, like what are they doing, is down here and they haven't even started their climb. So just don't even worry about them.
Right. Like the haters are on the base, at the base of the mountain, and are not on their journey yet, and are certainly not in like the valley of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great concept, and it's something that like is one of those things that we all kind of generally know, but then when you see articulated in such a simple, effective way, you're like, yeah, like I love this. Um, what do you like? Do you feel like you have something in your regular life that you have to fight back like from not doing because it feels cringe? I don't know if I worded that right, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that there's, I would say like the front facing camera videos, like where I'm just like talking into the
Mm.
camera on Instagram, like, and even like actually putting those on my feed, because stories are one thing, like they disappear after 24 hours. Like, sure, someone could screenshot it. If I add it to highlight, then it's like accessible later. But once you put it on your feed, it's a lot more public, and that is something where I am actively trying to treat Instagram, and I'm using Instagram as an example because it's the social media that I use most often, but I am trying to use it more as like this is for experimentation. It's not just promotion. It's not just like, yes, I love posting pretty pictures and I love posting I don't love posting promotional stuff, but I also recognize that it's a good way to do it because Instagram is like the first thing that many people are looking at when they look you up and they want to see what you're
Mhm.
up to. They're going there. But I also want to use it. Like I posted that video about like my refrigerator and
Mm.
like how I think it would be cool if there were a show that just like sort of ambushed people and found out what was in their refrigerator before they had a chance to like clean it up and make it look nice and like stock it with all these healthy products. And shows like that do exist, as I found out. Although I still think I think there's a way that I'd like to do it, and whatever. That's a separate thing. But doing things like that and treating social media as more of a like fun experimentation lab and less of like, oh my god, people are gonna look at this and think like, what is she doing? What it like that. I think that there is always that voice and that like naysayer in my mind that I'm trying to push through and be like, shut up,
Don't
I'm
don't
not listening to
don't
you.
fall victim to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about like I was thinking about what do I do, and I don't post on social media as much as you, but I do think the concept of cringe I feel the most, I think, in social media, and that makes sense because it is like the most public visibility, like which makes sense. Like we growing up, like we weren't ever sharing something with 300 or 500 or 1,000, or in your case multiple thousand people, and so it feels very, very like vulnerable. And it also feels like back, like fundamentally before social media, if you were going to send people an email about something, if you were going to make some send something in the mail to a massive number of people, it would be something that it would be rare, and it would kind of be a big announcement like, hey everybody, I want to
Mm,
tell you this big event that's happening in my life, or or
yeah.
once a year I'll mail you a holiday card, but with social media you are doing that constantly. And so I think there's this concept
Mhm.
of like, is what I'm doing worth sharing? And I think that like
Yeah.
some of us, especially if we didn't grow up like as teenagers with social media, for us like it was something that started in college really, and really took off post college. It feels very weird to like kind of take up space like that, and talk about ourselves or talk about things that we're experiencing like that, because it's just not something that we did in high school or even in college all that much. So I think that's part of it, where it feels like, okay, is this worth sharing? And you're right, like who just defines what is like worth sharing? And
Yeah,
like, but I mean, I think like we can feel cringe posting a selfie because then it's like, is this narcissist?
totally.
You know, is this too narcissistic? Is this too
Right.
self-centered and self-involved? And then like we also can feel cringe. Like I think this also happens. This actually might be, I was thinking about this. This might be a little bit also unique to like our generation because I don't know, like you're in LA and in your work it might be different, but a lot of our mutual friends are not active on social media. Like a lot of my very good
Yeah.
friends and people that I know that I've known since childhood do not have frequent social media, like big online presences. And so I think then also I'm like, wait a second, is it weird for me to be posting if like literally like a lot of people that I'm very close with don't, and if I'm not actually, in social media for work? I don't know. Anyway, that was a lot.
Well, I think to your last point, I'm going to say no, because also, and I really do, I love what Lone Star Defenders is doing on social media. I like how you guys are doing more. I don't want to say memes, but like sort of leading into like the more like posts that are like very pop culturally, like with the times, are like very much in the
Mm-hmm.
zeitgeist. And I think it's important. I mean, the amount of times that I've heard, like as an author, as like literally, it doesn't matter what field you're in. Like, I mean, I guess law, like legal, if you were working for like a big corporate law firm, and assuming that they have rules around like what they want their employees to be doing on social media. But I don't know, even then, like you see on TikTok all these like doctors and like anesthesiologists and dermatologists that are doing the like wiggling pointing
Yeah,
videos.
yeah, yeah.
And like, and it's like they've got, they have like professions, but then they also have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, and they're able to do both. And I think that we can certainly do both. I think it's all about the capacity that every individual has to put themselves out there. And admittedly, like not every single person can or wants to do it, which I think is good, because I think if like there are mutual friends of ours who deactivated Instagram, who left, who are just like, I don't even want that in my life anymore. I don't need it. I'm not interested. And good for them. I also think that when I meet up with friends who aren't on social media, we do have there's a level of like, I'm not saying it's better or worse, because I love to hang out with you and like sit on our phone and look at memes and like talk
Yeah.
about what we're seeing and what's going on here. But it is nice sometimes to meet up with people who don't know about that vacation that you took, or
Right.
your trip to Japan or whatever it is, because they are not engaging in that way. And but to that, I mean, in terms of like putting yourself out there, like being cringe, and I say that in quotes because I do not think it's cringe. I think everyone's bottom line is associated in some way with how much of a following they have. And I don't mean only on Instagram, but it's like how many people in the world are respecting you and like considering you as a trusted source for whatever it is that you may be doing. And I think social media is a way to find people who are interested in what you're doing, who are going to follow along with whatever your journey is, who will be invested in what you're up to. And it does actually, I know in the publishing world, it does translate to whether you get a book deal or not, how much money you might get for that next book, because publishers are looking at like, okay, well, what is their social following? Do they have
Hmm.
a presence on Instagram? Do they have a Substack? Do they have like TikTok? Are they being talked about on those platforms? It's certainly not like, by no means is it the only thing, but it is a factor. And
Yeah. And
yeah,
people, and I think that's important to also acknowledge that, like, you don't have to be like, one of the things that I think stops me from sharing sometimes is this idea of like, do I have the credentials or like the expertise to like, I feel less cringe if I'm talking about something legal because that is my profession. And then it's like, okay,
Sure.
I'm to some degree an expert in certain areas. And I feel like am an authority to speak about certain things. But then it's like, would anybody care about my skincare routine? And who am I to like talk about skincare when I like literally know very little about it? But then it's just like this idea of like, who cares? Like
Yeah.
you like post it, and if people like it, they'll respond, or if they're interested in it, they'll engage. And if they're not, they won't. But yeah, I think there is just this, if you can feel this pressure of like a who am I to, or is this too self-centered
Sure.
to, and like resisting that and saying, I'm just gonna try it and it'll be fun, I'll enjoy it. And if nobody responds, like that's okay.
People definitely care about your skincare routine. Do you remember Oil of Olay guy in DC?
No. Who
There
is
wasn't it, there was
living?
like a guy in DuPont Circle
Oh, like
who
20
came
years
up,
ago.
yeah, yeah, who I think he came up to both of us and he was like, "You girls have such beautiful skin. What are you using?" And I think you said Oil of Olay. There
Not
was definitely,
sponsored.
yeah. Not sponsored, not sponsored. I do love me some Oil of Olay, although that is not what I'm using right now. But yeah, I think that, we both know personally and not personally so many people who are not necessarily qualified to be giving the advice that they are. And I
Yeah.
think, but they're doing it. They're happily doing it. And I think the thing that is problematic is when when someone is going out there and saying like, this is the only way to be, like the only thing that you should do when you get up first thing in the morning is drink a glass of hot water with lemon in it. If you're not doing that, then you're damaging your health. Like, of course, like I would never say that. No one should ever say that. There's like absolutely no basis for that to be true.
Right.
If you're stating like, hey, here's an opinion, here's what works for me, take it or leave it. If you're not interested, like, you don't have to follow me, you don't have to pay attention to a thing I'm saying. Like, don't that's fine, go on your
Yeah.
way. But for the people who are interested, and I do think that there's actually, and maybe we can talk about it on another episode, but she's a personal finance correspondent that I was connected with through ABC like years ago. She recently put out her name is Farnoosh Torabi, and she recently put out a blog post saying like how her whole sort of approach to making money changed when I should just look it up because I'm trying to remember it, and of course I cannot, but I promise. Okay, yeah. The advice that completely changed how I make money. Around 2015, a guest on my podcast shared something that completely reframed how I think about making money. This person said there are two ways to earn a living. You can make money from what you do, your trade, and you can make money from what you know, your lived experiences, the things that you've learned simply by becoming who you are. That second idea stopped me in my tracks. And so that's something that I actually want to talk to her more about that, because
I
that stopped me in my tracks. I was like, wow, I have sort of danced around that topic in my own thinking, but I've never heard it put so succinctly. Because yeah, I'm a writer, you're a lawyer, but then there's also who we are that is like much bigger than those
right.
two things.
Totally. And like, yeah, that's a really fascinating, because that idea of like your lived experience is in a lot of ways what I think has prompted like self-help industries, influencer industries. It's people just like talking about themselves, and like things that they enjoy. Yeah, I am trying to get more. I'm trying to recognize more when I feel like I'm stopping myself from doing something because of a fear of being perceived as cringe, and just like developing that muscle to not care as much, right? And not like put a lot of value into into the potential embarrassment of it. And as I like am thinking about this out loud, in some ways, like social media is probably an okay way to try things, like an easier way to try things, because you don't necessarily get like you don't get reactions in the same way. I mean, I don't have like a following that's gonna give me negative reactions generally, and so in some ways, it's like a safe space to experiment and and not worry about something going viral or something getting negative feedback. Of course, if you have a larger following, it's a different story, but
It's also the things
okay.
that go viral, like that like Timothy Chalamet comment about ballet and opera. Like I don't think anyone thought, I certainly don't think he thought that that would be dissected and like turned into this whole like moral issue in the way that it was or it has been. So that whole, it's like you can like try to go viral and two people will watch your video, and you can say something so completely like, I'm authorized to say this, I'm credentialed to say it, and then the whims of the internet make it so that, oh, now this is like a thing. It's
Yeah.
very mercurial, and yeah, I think, look, in the spirit of climbing Cringe Mountain, I will this week take that video of me on the swings.
Amazing.
We can do that. We can
Yeah.
totally do that.
Okay, that means I will figure out. I don't have anything readily off the top of my head, but I'm going to figure out something that normally would make me feel a little cringe about sharing or posting or doing, and gonna embrace it. Gonna do it. And we'll come back next week and talk about it.
I love it. What are you doing the rest of tonight?
Just staying in and relaxing. I'll make a small plug for my boyfriend Juan just posted his first like real big thing on Substack, which is really exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, his first post. I'll send you the link, but it's a deep dive into his experience doing ayahuasca from a couple of years ago, and it is great. It's like a very like thorough, long read, but really beautifully written. And yeah, I'm super proud of him because he has been thinking about doing this for a while. And as as a writer, like it can feel sort of daunting to put something. I'm sure in this, we can talk about this more on a different podcast episode, but there's a big difference, I think, between writing for a specific job, like you're told, hey, report on this or write on that, versus like something that you are writing about that you're just generating for yourself to see if it resonates, but like it's not necessarily like dictated, or you have full creative freedom as far as what you're putting out. And so
totally.
I think it was like it was a process, and it was cool to see him like figure out his like how he wanted to approach it, his workflow, and get it all out there. But it is out there. He hit post right before we hopped on, so I'm very
I can't wait to read it. Yeah, send me the link. I'm definitely going to put it in the notes. That's exciting. I'm very. Where did he do it? Where did he do ayahuasca?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. It wasn't in the United States.
Okay.
But I think like I've definitely talked to him about it, but I've heard him, like, he was reading the piece to me as he was kind of doing final edits. And there's certain details in the piece that I think he leaves sort of intentionally out to kind of leave some room for interpretation. So I actually don't know the answer, but yeah, it's really good. And if you've ever been, for anyone who's ever been, it's kind of one of those things, like as someone who hasn't done it, it was interesting to read just to like get that kind of perspective. And then I'd be curious for people who have, to see like kind of what resonated and was similar. I don't know. From what I've heard, everyone has such uniquely different experiences, but then obviously it's a big thing and a lot of people are doing it. So there's some commonality of like value, that people have. So anyway, so he's been working on that. So we're just going to like chill this evening, probably get some good food and have a little Substack celebration party.
Love it.
Yeah. What about you?
That's cool. Squirrel, which I think we had lunch at last time or got takeout from. They finally, after after years of working on it, have started serving dinner. So we're
Oh,
going to go there. We haven't been. We're just going to roll down the hill and go over to Squirrel. I love walking to being able to walk to a
oh,
restaurant.
that's so nice. So
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that's yeah, that is a perk. And you have some really good ones in walking distance. So
That is true. Cannot complain about that. The
yeah.
eating continues.
I was gonna say, well, there was no you must eat. Eating is a
One
required
must.
a required function.
That's true.
Well,
That's
I am
true.
excited to see the video of you swinging. I'm really excited for it. Tag me when you post it. I can't wait to see it.
I absolutely will. I will. That's that we're just gonna swing ourselves off Cringe Mountain and into the Valley of Cool. That's what we're gonna do.
Exactly. All right.
All
Well, I
right.
will see you next week.
See you next week. Love ya.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.